Hi guys, my name is Adeline Mankin and this is my artist presentation. The first artist that I looked into was William Eggleston. He's renowned as one of the most influential photographers of the latter half of the 20th century. He specializes in portraits and landscapes, mainly of the American South. He got his first camera in 1957. He was greatly influenced by the photo series The Decisive Moment by Henri Cartier-Bresson. He introduced dye transfer printing to independent artist printmaking. Before that was something that was really only done commercially, so pretty cool. He kind of introduced that to artists as like independent creators able to use dye transfer printing on their own. He was involved in the development of video making technology back in the 1970s, doing like video making as an art form. He was kind of involved in the development of that technology. And I really like this quote by him about color photography back at its beginnings. I had the attitude that I would work with this present day material and do the best I could to describe it with photography, not intending to make any particular comment about whether it was good or bad or whether I liked it or not. It was just there and I was interested in it. And I think that that's kind of cool. I also kind of look at art in the same way where I'm just kind of like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to try it out. So I thought it was cool that he, looked at art in sort of the same way, and he's a very revolutionary photographer. So here are going to be a couple of his images. I really love this landscape. It just looks so like old and vintage. I love this car. I love the like trash under the car. You can see that the car is like chained to this post. I think it's super cool. I felt that this was really cool. This was just kind of a project of him exploring color and how color shows up on color film. It's under works called Life in Color, and I think that this is super cool. And then I love this photo. He took it outside of a diner. Sorry, it was kind of hard to like fit it into the slides. Some of the images were hard to format, but I think this is really cool. You can kind of see like people in the diner, a worker in the diner. I love the like angle of the window of the diner window, and I thought it was a really cool image. Right, and then this is the last image for him. I really love this image. It reminds me of like my grandfather and like people from the town that I'm from in Ohio, and I thought it was a super cool image. I also love the juxtaposed of like this guy is older but he's still like totally badass. He's got his chains on his belt, his button up like not velvety but like silky looking shirt with the gun in his hand, but still like the quilted blanket, the lamp over the bed. I think it's a great image, and I think it's very like encapsulating of this person. Like it seems like it tells you a lot about him in this image. Right, and the next photographer I chose was Anne Hoai Ly. She is a Vietnamese American photographer and videographer. She focuses on themes of war, landscape, and how warfare interacts with the landscapes, like the interaction of those two things. In 1975, she fled Saigon to the U.S. with her family. She was very drawn to the background of war images. She said she was interested in things like the civilians behind the soldiers and what they were doing, the street vendors and what they were selling, the types of cars and bikes that people were riding in the images, and less so the warfare that she saw. She said she was more attracted to the corners of the images, and I thought that was a really cool way to describe it. Like she was very interested in what the people around the warfare were doing. She uses a 19th century camera and very large format negatives to capture every single detail. She's very detail oriented, and you can see in her photos every single part of the image looks like specially curated. They're very, very interesting, unique images. She says that military and combat have always been a huge part of her life because she was displaced from her home during the Vietnam War, and that just kind of inspired her and became a central focus of her photography, is kind of how warfare is interacting with the landscape and how it's interacting with civilians and people around her. So I thought that her story was very cool. I think she's really interesting. She's a super cool person, and I find her photos extremely interesting, so I'll move on to those. This is the first one, and I just think that this is so cool. It's soldiers in a netted tent, and the tent is just creating like a very interesting shadow. It's a very surreal image. It almost looks like a drawing, I think. I just think it's super cool. This image of a tank barreling through the desert, this is from her 29 Palms series, which is one of her most famous photography series, where she was photographing soldiers that were being deployed out of 29 Palms, California. This is another image from that series of just two soldiers. I think that this is very cinematic. Like, this almost looks like something out of a movie. I think it's really cool that she was able to capture this moment of these real soldiers, and it just looks so surreal. And then this image, I don't know, oh, I'm sorry, this is showing up pixelated. It was not showing up pixelated before. Sorry about that, but this image shows just civilians, like, interacting with areas where, like, warfare has happened. So there's, like, destroyed land from, like, bombs and tanks and things going through it, and it's just people playing in the remnants of the water. I think it's really interesting. I think it's very, like, it's almost, like, stark and sad, but I find it very interesting. And this photo is probably my favorite. This is very cool. She's got, it looks so perfectly posed and framed, the way the smoke encapsulates the plane. You can see soldiers on either side of the image as well as in the middle. I just think that this is a gorgeous image, and I also think it's very, very melancholy. It's very, like, encapsulating of warfare. Okay, my last photographer is Harold Eugene, also known as Doc Edgerton. He started as an American scientist. He was an electrical engineering professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, from 1927 to 1990. He earned his PhD in 1931, and his dissertation actually included a motion picture of a high-speed motor in action. So from the beginnings of him getting his PhD, he was very interested in, like, photography and how to capture the movement of light and the movement of like, items through their light patterns. He developed and improved strobes to use them to freeze objects in motion so a camera could capture them. His nickname is actually Papa Flash, so he kind of helped develop and improve the strobe light so that it could just flash very quickly, and he could take an image during that flash of whatever's happening in the moment. I think that's super cool. He and his friends invented a wrapped electronic camera they called Rapatronic, very creative, so they could capture nuclear bomb test explosions. I think those images are super cool. The camera could open and close its shutter in around 2 microseconds, which was just revolutionary. And by the 1950s, he and his friends had perfected their camera. They designed a camera shutter that had no moving mechanical parts, so that made it possible to take a photo with an exposure time as little as 10 millionths of a second. So this guy is super interesting. Being a scientist myself, my degree is in conservation biology and ecology. I love the, like, mix of art and science, and this guy has always been one of my favorite photographers, and I'm just going to move into his images because they are gorgeous, and I'm kind of getting high on time. Sorry, guys. Here's an image of a diver. I think that this is super cool. It almost looks like, I don't know how to describe it. It's that one spiral, like the spiral of life or something like that. I don't know. I love this image. I think this is super cool. It almost looks like multiple people, but it's just one person doing this dive into the water, and the way that his shutter speed worked, he was just able to capture it so quickly. And then this was a revolutionary image, a bullet going through an apple. No one was able to take photos this fast up until Egerton tried it, and yeah, I think this image is super cool, and it was, like, a very revolutionary image for the time. Image of a bird in motion. This is beautiful. It's just a pigeon taking flight, but you can see every single wing movement of the pigeon. I think it's gorgeous. This is someone playing tennis, so I think that's cool. He's able to catch the motion of the racket and the ball and the person. I just think that this is super cool. This image is of the nuclear explosion, so this is the last image I have for him. I think that this image is super cool. I love all of his images of the nuclear explosions. They're very, like, sad and stark because you're thinking, like, oh, these are explosions, these are nuclear test bombs, but also it's, like, they're amazing because no one had ever done something like this before. And, yeah, I think that they turned out cool. I love his images. I love him as a person and an artist. And then, yeah, here are all my sources. So thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation, and thanks for listening.